Right now, somewhere in your kitchen, there's probably something that's completely illegal in another country. The bread on your counter, the candy in your drawer, the cereal you ate this morning. To you, it's just food, but cross the wrong border with it, and it could get seized, fined, or get you in actual legal trouble. So today we're going through the foods that countries around the world have decided you are not allowed to eat. And some of these are going to surprise you. Let's start with the one almost everyone gets wrong. If you live in America, your bread is banned in Europe, not because of taste, because of what's in it. A lot of commercial American bread contains chemicals like potassium bromate and azotocarbonamide. That second one is sometimes nicknamed the yoga mat chemical because it's used to make foamed plastics like the soles of shoes and, yes, yoga mats. The European Union looked at these additives, decided they weren't worth the risk, and banned them from food. So the everyday loaf that millions of Americans eat without a second thought, in the EU, it would never make it to the shelf. And it doesn't stop at bread. Think about the brightly colored candy you grew up with. A lot of those artificial dyes, the ones that make candy glow neon red and electric yellow, are heavily restricted or outright banned across Europe. In many cases, companies are forced to either use natural coloring or slap a warning label on the package telling parents it may affect children's behavior and attention. Same candy brand, two completely different products, depending on which side of the ocean you're standing on. Then there are the drinks. Some citrus-flavored sodas and sports drinks sold in America used to contain something called brominated vegetable oil, or BVO. It was added to keep the flavor evenly mixed. The problem is that bromine can build up in your body over time. Countries like Japan and the nations of the European Union banned it long ago, and it took the United States years to finally follow. So for a long time, a drink considered totally normal in one country was flat out illegal in another. And here's where it gets even stranger: American chicken. In Europe, you cannot sell chicken that's been washed in chlorine. In the US, it's a common practice. Producers rinse the meat in a chlorine solution to kill bacteria. Europe's argument is basically this: if you have to bleach the chicken at the end, it means your hygiene standards earlier in the process were too low, so they banned the imports entirely. Chlorine chicken became one of the biggest food fights between America and Europe, and it's still a sticking point in trade deals today. It's the same story with beef. A huge amount of American beef comes from cattle raised with growth hormones to make them bigger, faster. The European Union banned hormone-treated beef decades ago and refuses to import it. So that steak on an American grill? In Europe, it's contraband. Now stop and think about what we've covered so far. Bread, candy, soda, chicken, beef. That's not exotic food, that's a normal grocery run, and half of it is illegal somewhere on Earth, but this is where we leave the supermarket behind, because now it gets weird. Let's talk about the most famous banned candy in the world, the Kinder Surprise Egg, a hollow chocolate egg with a little toy hidden inside. Kids across Europe and the rest of the world have grown up with them. But in the United States, they were banned for decades, and the reason goes all the way back to a law from 1938, which says you cannot sell candy with a non-food object embedded inside it. The toy capsule sealed inside the chocolate breaks that rule because regulators consider it a choking hazard for young children, and they take it seriously. Bringing them across the border can get them confiscated, just like smuggled goods. There have been fines of up to $2,500 for a single egg. In 1 year alone, border agents seized 60,000 of them. One official literally compared it to smuggling narcotics. Eventually, a workaround was invented. A version where the toy is sealed in a separate plastic half, completely away from the chocolate. That one's legal, but the original, still a no-go. Next up, a dish that an entire country is proud of, banned by another. Haggis, Scotland's national dish. It's a savory pudding made from sheep's organs mixed with oats and spices, traditionally cooked inside the animal's stomach. The Scots love it. But in the United States, it's been banned for decades, because one of its traditional ingredients is sheep's lung, and American food safety rules prohibit lungs in food products. So the centerpiece of Scotland's most famous celebration cannot legally be made the traditional way in America. Now we move into territory that's banned not for safety but for ethics: foie gras. It's a luxury food made from the liver of a duck or goose that's been deliberately overfed, often through a tube, until the liver swells to many times its normal size. To fans, it's a delicacy. To critics, it's cruelty on a plate. And enough people agreed with the critics that it's been banned or restricted in several countries and cities around the world. A food that sells for a fortune in fine dining restaurants is in other places simply against the law. And if you think that's extreme, wait until you hear about this cheese. It's called casu marzu, and it comes from the island of Sardinia. It's a sheep's milk cheese that is intentionally left to rot and then on purpose infested with live insect larvae. The maggots break down the cheese from the inside, giving it a soft, oozing texture. People eat it with the larvae still alive and wriggling. The European Union banned it on health grounds because eating live larvae carries real risks to your body. But here's the twist. It's so culturally beloved in Sardinia that there's a thriving black market for it. People still make it, still trade it, still eat it, ban or no ban. Let's stay on the dangerous side, because some foods are banned simply because they can kill you. The most famous example is fugu, the Japanese pufferfish. Parts of this fish contain a poison many times deadlier than cyanide, and there's no antidote. Eat the wrong part, and it can paralyze you and stop you from breathing. Because of this, in many places, you cannot legally serve it unless you're a specially licensed chef who has trained for years just to learn which parts are safe to cut away. One mistake, and the meal becomes the last one your customer ever eats. Then there's a fruit that's perfectly fine until it isn't. It's called ackee, and it's the national fruit of Jamaica. When it's ripe, it's delicious and harmless. But when it's unripe, it contains a toxin that can cause severe sickness, and in bad cases, it can be deadly. The condition it causes is so well known, it even has a nickname. Because of that danger, importing the fresh, unripe fruit has been banned in places like the United States, where only the safely processed, canned version is allowed in. Now let's talk about a ban that's about saving a species, not protecting a stomach. Shark fin. In many cultures, shark fin soup is a prized, expensive dish, but the way the fins are often harvested is brutal, and it's pushed some shark populations toward collapse. So a growing number of countries and regions have banned the sale and trade of shark fin entirely, trying to shut down the demand that's driving these animals to extinction. It's the same logic with certain types of caviar. The most prized caviar comes from a fish called the beluga sturgeon, a creature that's been around since the age of the dinosaurs. But overfishing pushed it to the edge of extinction, so countries like the United States banned the import of beluga caviar to try to protect what's left. A delicacy that once symbolized pure luxury became, almost overnight, illegal contraband. And now to finish, the strangest ban of them all, the samosa. That crispy, golden, triangle-shaped pastry stuffed with spiced filling, loved across India, the Middle East, Africa, and beyond. How could anyone possibly ban a samosa? Well, in 2011, in parts of Somalia controlled by an extremist militant group, they did exactly that. And the reason is almost hard to believe. The group decided that the samosa's three-cornered, triangular shape too closely resembled a Christian religious symbol, the Holy Trinity, so they announced the ban through loudspeakers mounted on trucks, and people could be punished just for making or eating them. A snack that billions of people enjoy, outlawed over the shape of a triangle. So here's what all of this really tells us. Food isn't just food. What ends up on your plate is shaped by science, by safety, by money, by tradition, by politics, and sometimes by beliefs that seem completely bizarre from the outside. The exact same dish can be a national treasure in one country and a crime in another. The bread you eat without thinking, the candy you grew up loving, the fish that could kill you. Somewhere out there, a line was drawn and someone decided this is allowed and that is not. So now I want to hear from you. Which of these surprised you the most? And is there a banned food from your country that I missed? Tell me in the comments. And if you made it this far, you clearly love this stuff, so go ahead and subscribe, because the world of food gets a lot weirder than this. I'll see you in the next one.